Hey everybody, welcome to the South Campus show. And I have the pleasure to be with Archbishop Bernard Hebda. Welcome, Archbishop. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Father. I'm thrilled to be part of this.
Thank you. So, first of all, I know you're from out east. Whereabouts? I mean, Pittsburgh, I know that.
Yes. Yeah, so my family was from Pittsburgh. My grandparents immigrated to Pittsburgh from Poland on my dad's side. My mom's family was from Ireland. And Pittsburgh's just a wonderful melting pot. And I spent most of my life there. So right in the city of Pittsburgh. We moved when I was a little boy, but still within the city. When I was really young, we were right near the steel mills.
Okay.
And then we moved a little bit further away from that, but always in an urban environment. Really a great place to grow up. I went to a wonderful Catholic school, elementary school, 1,600 kids when I started, and that was their first small year because they had opened two other schools. So it was right at the baby boom. And then I went to a Catholic high school too, Christian Brother High School in Pittsburgh.
Wow. That, from roots in Pittsburgh, that must make you a Steelers fan.
Absolutely. You really don't have a choice in Pittsburgh. You have to be pretty brave to like anybody other than the Steelers.
Yeah. Terry Bradshaw on down.
Exactly.
Wow. So, education-wise, after high school, moving on,
I did have to leave Pittsburgh to go to college, so I went up to Cambridge, Massachusetts, to Harvard. I studied government, international relations.
Okay.
And then I went to law school in New York City. So.
Okay. So, with out of law school, you practice as an attorney for how long?
Yes, not very long, just a little bit over a year. Already when I was in law school, I started going to Mass every day. Just was real easy to do. And I thought again about priesthood. But by that point, I was up to my eyes in debt. So I knew I was going to have to work. So I chose to go home to Pittsburgh, where I could explore the vocation question and live at home, save some money, pay off my debt. So that's what I did. And I worked at a really fine law firm in Pittsburgh, a large firm. I liked the work, and so that was never the question. But after about a year there, I thought if I didn't try seminary, then I probably never would, because I liked the work enough and was really investing my time in that. So I took a break and went to St. Paul's Seminary in Pittsburgh, where I did my philosophy at Duquesne University.
Wow. So a bit of, I asked priests, how'd you get the call? But it wasn't a thunderbolt, but it grew over time and deepened.
Right. So it was something I thought about when I was really young, and I asked my parents if I could go to a high school seminary. That's how excited I was about being a priest. And it was with the Capuchin Franciscans, and I brought the vocation director home, and they took him up to my bedroom, and they said, "This room's a disaster. If he can't clean his room, how could he go to seminary?" So I didn't go to high school seminary, but I applied again when I was getting out of college to the Capuchins, and at that point they recommended that I go to a regular college program. So that was how I ended up at Harvard. But I had thought about priesthood, along the way, and I just had the great privilege of being in Pittsburgh for the Episcopal ordination of one of my high school classmates. And he was a real role model for me, Bishop Mark Ekman. So when we were in high school, he was much more convinced about going to be a diocesan priest, and he entered the minor seminary right after high school. And then was a nice point of contact for me as I continued to think about it, but at a distance.
Yeah, it's funny, if you have one person you can key on as who models it well, that I found in my own experience that helps.
Yes,
take the next step.
We were really blessed. As I said, we went to a Christian Brother high school. They were having some problems, so they brought in a diocesan priest as a headmaster just for 1 year, as an interim headmaster. And one of the things that he did was that he started daily Mass in the brothers' residence. And out of our little group that went to daily Mass, he invited any of the boys, it was a boys' school, any of the students or their dads And out of that little group, we had 4 priests. So just this one
Wow.
priest, his pastoral zeal, and his it was a difficult assignment for him, I'm sure. And but he had that kind of an influence on us that 4 of us became priests.
Yeah, beautiful. So you, the years pass by quickly, but you
they
have
do.
been here in Minnesota, Archdiocese. How long?
Yeah, it's going on 7 years. So I came here as the administrator, and served in that way for about 9 months, and then I was named the bishop
Yep.
in May of 2016. Huh?
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So Minnesota, what do you think of our winters?
Well, it's not that much different than Pittsburgh. It's a little
Yeah.
bit colder and it's longer.
Yeah.
But in terms of amount of snow, it's kind of what I was used to. I had been bishop in a little place called Gaylord, Michigan, and
yeah.
it's right in the snow belt.
Yeah.
So you would like it, Father, because I lived between 2 ski resorts. And
Porcupine Mountain?
no, it was Treetops and Otsego Club,
Okay.
and in Gaylord, Michigan, and they get about 150 inches of snow a year.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, huh?
So you know snow.
I know snow.
it's not
So
gonna
this
be-
is a lot less snow.
Yeah, yeah. Not a deal breaker, but
Yep.
the Minnesota culture, similarities from, I'm going to say out east, differences. How do you experience it?
I find St. Paul in particular very similar to Pittsburgh. So the neighborhood base, I think people have an attentiveness to their ethnic heritage. It's a little bit with a few of the hills. It reminds me of Pittsburgh, so that's been a really easy adjustment for me.
Okay.
And then, although the neighborhood where I lived when I was a little boy was a lot like Northeast in Minneapolis, so that I feel right at home there too.
Great. Did you, used to be Catholic St. Paul, Swedish Lutheran Minneapolis.
Yes.
That's breaking down a little bit now, but
Right.
so
Great history here, though, huh?
yeah, starting with Archbishop Ireland and before.
Right.
Very, very much so. And so culturally, the church, I'm going to say out east, the Midwest church, again, similarities, differences. What's your experience?
I find a lot of similarities with Pittsburgh here. So as I said, it's been comfortable for me. We're really blessed here to have a really high degree of lay involvement. I think that was certainly cultivated by my predecessors. Archbishop Roach really saw that as a priority. But I just see the way in which people step forward now, for example, to support Catholic schools. I think that's really unique in the country, that kind of support. So I feel really blessed to be here.
Yeah, really. So time off, what do you like to do? You can't work all the time, although you put in a full schedule.
No, I love spending time with people. So that's one of the reasons why I like to go out to eat, not just because I like food, but I lived in Italy for so long that's certainly part of their life, right? And you might spend a whole evening at table, and it's an opportunity to talk. So I love that. And but I like walking, I like swimming, I like to read, I like music, I like movies, theater.
Yeah. I think all that is important for balance. Take a break and come back to what we do, hopefully with renewed enthusiasm. But I like the time at table. That's connecting with people and that's the time to do it.
I always feel bad when I go to eat with somebody and they're confused because it takes me so long. But it's because of that experience of it being a social time more than a functional time, right?
You're modeling well for them. This is slow down time. This is connect time.
When I was in Italy, I was there I worked there for 13 years, and they had a movement called the slow food movement. And it was really to get people to eat more natural foods, and to stay away from fast food, huh?
Yeah.
But it was very convincing there because the food's so good.
Yeah, easy to do. But about you're such a great leader, and I really mean that in connecting making an effort to show up. You're great at showing up.
Well, Father, you only know that because you show up at everything. I'm always amazed at how you are present.
We both do that. I think we do it
I
well,
think
and then we intersect.
It's a priority for us both.
Yeah.
But I love seeing the great things that you do at St. Victoria.
Oh, thank you.
Just the way
Thank
you know people, and you've really created a community, and that church is so significant for the parishioners.
Yeah, it is. It's fun. Those connections are great. But I remember good friend Father Ralph Hewer at his graveside. It just happened kind of spontaneously, which was typical of Father Hewer. But you showed up out of nowhere.
Yes.
And that meant so much to people.
Well, he picked the best spot in the world for a grave, huh? It was a beautiful view.
It was in the country.
In the country.
Dirt
Not
roads.
far from the golf course that he loved, or the
true.
farm where he grew up.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had thought, went out.
Yes.
So, but here, what would you say in terms of the Archdiocese, and what do you find fascinating about being a bishop?
Well, I mean, I love the opportunity to hear of different experiences of church, and this is a really rich archdiocese for that, because we have huge suburban parishes that are not unlike huge suburban parishes anywhere else in the country. But then we also have urban parishes, and we have rural parishes. And so you realize people's experience of the world and of church is very different depending on where we are. And I find that refreshing. And, you might remember, Father, that our first synod listening session was at your parish, which you were so kind to open that up. But we had those opportunities to hear from 9,000 people. And you hear from somebody in a very small rural parish, it's very different than somebody from Minneapolis.
Absolutely, and that's part of being a diocesan priest. These different assignments, where you get a variety and get to see the breadth and the depth of God's people.
Yes,
and where they're at. Sometimes the work, if you take it on all at once, and get overwhelming. It was like there's so much to do, you never get done. But where do you find the hope and the joy in your ministry and overseeing a large archdiocese?
So I get really excited when I see young people that are learning the faith or on fire with their faith, whether it be the kids in our grade schools. We just had Catholic Schools Week. For me, that's always an energy booster to listen to them talk about Jesus. And you know that that's the Lord's desire, is to let the little ones come to Him, right? Or when you talk to our high school students or college students about the questions that they have and ways in which they're grappling with the faith and living the moral life, I get pretty inspired by that too, So I would say that's a real blessing for me.
Yeah, for sure. The next generation is stepping up right now,
right.
And it's beautiful to see. Archbishop, just thank you for taking time in your schedule. Always enjoy our time together talking. Just know you're doing. We want to support you in the work you do. You're leading the charge and doing it well. So thank you.
Thanks, Father. My only suggestion was that you include Arlo in these interviews, right?
Next time.
Next time.
Next time.
Great.
Thanks everyone for tuning in. We will see you next week. Godspeed.